Today we've brought our 2000 Winnebago Minnie to a dump station so we can show you how to empty the black and gray water holding tanks. Most dump stations have a pretty similar setup where you'll find an island that you can access from either side. You'll see the sewage receptacles in the middle. You'll see a few pipes coming up where you can get some water so you can rinse things out if you brought your own hoses. Most important thing, get nice and close so that the pipes don't have to run too far. So let's look at how we've set up our waste station on our Winnebago Minnie. Now we do have a couple aftermarket tank rinsers we'll talk about in a bit, but for the most part we're pretty standard. Even though we have a black water tank and a gray water tank, both of those drain through the same waste hose connection. We're just going to have the one hose that we're going to connect here. The elbow is going to go into that sewer connection that we saw earlier. Once we're ready, we're going to pull the handle and the black tank valve is going to open up and we're going to dump everything out of there. And then once it's empty, we're going to use our black tank rinse to wash everything out of that tank. Once we're done with the black water tank, we're going to do the same thing for the gray water. We're going to pull the handle on the gray tank valve, let everything out. And then once it looks like that's nice and clean, then we're going to run the rinse on that gray tank as well. It's pretty straightforward, but let's walk you through step by step so you can see exactly how it's done. We store our drain hoses in the back bumper on the motorhome. So we'll come back here, pull them out, and you'll notice that they're in two pieces so that they fit. You've got the elbow that goes into the sewer itself, and it snaps onto the hose. Once it's connected, just drop it on in. Make sure the cap sits on top to help keep it in place. And then the other end is going to claw onto that waste hose connection. Once our sewer line has been firmly connected, we're going to get our rinse hose set up so that we can clean everything out. Pull that out of the storage. We'll hook it up to the water supply, and then there's a quick connect on the other end that will just snap in place. Make sure it's turned off and the line's perpendicular. Put it in place. You have to pull down on the top piece while pushing the hose up in place. And we're ready to go. Now, pull that main black water valve. You'll see everything nasty starts draining away. Once things slow down a bit, it's time to turn on the tank rinser. Just push the switch down. You'll hear there's a bit of a noise as the rotating head inside the tank sprays water throughout. The water spraying around the inside of the tank will help keep any sensors clear to prevent false readings and really just get some of the gunk off. Once we're done, flip the switch back up to turn it off, and then switch the rinse hose to the back. You'll see a little bit of water fall out. Don't worry, this is fresh water. There are checked valves that prevent anything from the tank from coming out this line, so you don't need to worry there. Once we're connected to the gray water tank, we'll make sure our line's firmly in place. We're going to close the black water tank, push that back up in, and then we're going to pull the handle for the gray water valve. This is going to drain out anything that came through the shower or through the kitchen sink. You'll see when it comes out it's a fair amount cleaner. The thought process with doing the gray tank after you've done the black is if there's any solid material that's stuck in the hose, this will help wash it out. Our tank rinsers help with that as well, but that's why we do the black water first and then the gray second. Once we've finished up, we'll shut off the gray water, and once you shut off the gray water, it's still going to take a good 5 to 8 minutes for that tank to drain out because that pipe does not have much of a slope to it. So just a heads up that it's going to take a while before you're ready to actually shut that valve for the gray water tank. Once we shut it off, we'll see that we're good, nothing else is draining, so we're ready to put everything away. Now because that gray water line does have such little slope, you'll probably still have a little bit of a dribble when you disconnect that drain line. So be ready to quickly put the cap on to stop anything from getting out. And we're ready to clean up. Remove the hose line from the sewer. You're going to twist to disconnect that elbow, shrink the hose up, and then you're just going to put it back in that rain gutter that sits in the back bumper. It'll air dry out a little bit so it doesn't get all nasty. But slide it in, replace the little line to cable to keep it in place, and you're ready for next time.